Believe the hype. In 20 hours, you will witness exquisite artistry. Redmi K20 and Redmi K20 Pro are coming. Believe the hype. In 20 hours, you will witness exquisite artistry. Redmi K20 and Redmi K20 Pro are coming. Believe the hype. In 20 hours, you will witness exquisite artistry. Redmi K20 and Redmi K20 Pro are coming. Believe the hype. In 20 hours, you will witness exquisite artistry. Redmi K20 and Redmi K20 Pro are coming. Believe the hype. In 20 hours, you will witness exquisite artistry. Redmi K20 and Redmi K20 Pro are coming. Believe the hype. In 20 hours, you will witness exquisite artistry. Redmi K20 and Redmi K20 Pro are coming. Believe the hype. In 20 hours, you will witness exquisite artistry. Redmi K20 and Redmi K20 Pro are coming. Believe the hype. In 20 hours, you will witness exquisite artistry. Redmi K20 and Redmi K20 Pro are coming. Believe the hype. In 20 hours, you will witness exquisite artistry. Redmi K20 and Redmi K20 Pro are coming. Believe the hype. In 20 hours, you will witness exquisite artistry. Redmi K20 and Redmi K20 Pro are coming. Believe the hype. 20 hours, you will witness exquisite artistry. Redmi K20 and Redmi K20 Pro are coming. Believe the hype. In 20 hours, you will witness exquisite artistry. Redmi K20 and Redmi K20 Pro are coming. Believe the hype. In 20 hours, you will witness exquisite artistry. Redmi K20 and Redmi K20 Pro are coming. Believe the hype. In 20 hours, you will witness exquisite artistry. Redmi K20 and Redmi K20 Pro are coming. Believe the hype. In 20 hours, you will witness exquisite artistry. Redmi K20 and Redmi K20 Pro are coming. Believe the hype. In 20 hours, you will witness exquisite artistry. Redmi K20 and Redmi K20 Pro are coming. Believe the hype.
हाँ baby, I just got home. Okay.
In 20 hours, you will witness exquisite artistry. Redmi K20 and Redmi K20 Pro are coming. Believe the hype. In 20 hours, you will witness exquisite artistry. Redmi K20 and Redmi K20 Pro are coming. Believe the hype. In 20 hours, you will witness exquisite artistry. Redmi K20 and Redmi K20 Pro are coming. Believe the hype. 20 hours, you will witness exquisite artistry. Redmi K20 and Redmi K20 Pro are coming. Believe the hype. In 20 hours, you will witness exquisite artistry. Redmi K20 and Redmi K20 Pro are coming. Believe the hype. In 20 hours, you will witness exquisite artistry. Redmi K20 and Redmi K20 Pro are coming. Believe the hype. In 20 hours, you will witness exquisite artistry. Redmi K20 and Redmi K20 Pro are coming. Believe the hype. In 20 hours, you will witness exquisite artistry. Redmi K20 and Redmi K20 Pro are coming. Believe the hype. In 20 hours, you will witness exquisite artistry. Redmi K20 and Redmi K20 Pro are coming. Believe the hype. In 20 hours, you will witness exquisite artistry. Redmi K20 and Redmi K20 Pro are coming. Believe the hype. In 20 hours, you will witness exquisite artistry. Redmi K20 and Redmi K20 Pro are coming. Believe the hype. In 20 hours, you will witness exquisite artistry. Redmi K20 and Redmi K20 Pro are coming. Believe the hype. In 20 hours, you will witness exquisite artistry. Redmi K20 and Redmi K20 Pro are coming. Believe the hype. In 20 hours, you will witness exquisite artistry. Redmi K20 and Redmi K20 Pro are coming. Believe the hype. In 20 hours, you will witness exquisite artistry. Redmi K20 and Redmi K20 Pro are coming. Believe the hype. In 20 hours, you will witness exquisite artistry. Redmi K20 and Redmi K20 Pro are coming. Believe the hype. In 20 hours, you will witness exquisite artistry. Redmi K20 and Redmi K20 Pro are coming. Believe the hype. In 20 hours, you will witness exquisite artistry. Redmi K20 and Redmi K20 Pro are coming. Believe the hype. In 20 hours, you will witness exquisite artistry. Redmi K20 and Redmi K20 Pro are coming. Believe the hype. In 20 hours, you will witness exquisite artistry. Redmi K20 and Redmi K20 Pro are coming. Believe the hype. In 20 hours, you will witness exquisite artistry. Redmi K20 and Redmi K20 Pro are coming. Believe the hype. 20 hours, you will witness exquisite artistry. Redmi K20 and Redmi K20 Pro are coming. Believe the hype. In 20 hours, you will witness exquisite artistry. Redmi K20 and Redmi K20 Pro are coming. Believe the hype. In 20 hours, you will witness exquisite artistry. Redmi K20 and Redmi K20 Pro are coming. Believe the hype. In 20 hours, you will witness exquisite artistry. Redmi K20 and Redmi K20 Pro are coming. Believe the hype. In 20 hours, you will witness exquisite artistry. Redmi K20 and Redmi K20 Pro are coming. Believe the hype. In 20 hours, you will witness exquisite artistry. Redmi K20 and Redmi K20 Pro are coming. Believe the hype. In 20 hours, you will witness exquisite artistry. Redmi K20 and Redmi K20 Pro are coming. Believe the hype. In 20 hours, you will witness exquisite artistry. Redmi K20 and Redmi K20 Pro are coming. Believe the hype. In 20 hours, you will witness exquisite artistry. Redmi K20 and Redmi K20 Pro are coming. Believe the hype. 20 hours, you will witness exquisite artistry. Redmi K20 and Redmi K20 Pro are coming. Believe the hype. In 20 hours, you will witness exquisite artistry. Redmi K20 and Redmi K20 Pro are coming. Believe the hype. In 20 hours, you will witness exquisite artistry. Redmi K20 and Redmi K20 Pro are coming. Believe the hype. In 20 hours, you will witness exquisite artistry. Redmi K20 and Redmi K20 Pro are coming. Believe the hype. In 20 hours, you will witness exquisite artistry. Redmi K20 and Redmi K20 Pro are coming. Believe the hype. In 20 hours, you will witness exquisite artistry. Redmi K20 and Redmi K20 Pro are coming. Believe the hype. In 20 hours, you will witness exquisite artistry. Redmi K20 and Redmi K20 Pro are coming. Believe the hype. In 20 hours, you will witness exquisite artistry. Redmi K20 and Redmi K20 Pro are coming. Believe the hype. In 20 hours, you will witness exquisite artistry. Redmi K20 and Redmi K20 Pro are coming. Believe the hype. 20 hours, you will witness exquisite artistry. Redmi K20 and Redmi K20 Pro are coming. Believe the hype. In 20 hours, you will witness exquisite artistry. Redmi K20 and Redmi K20 Pro are coming. Believe the hype. In 20 hours, you will witness exquisite artistry. Redmi K20 and Redmi K20 Pro are coming. Believe the hype. In 20 hours, you will witness exquisite artistry. Redmi K20 and Redmi K20 Pro are coming. Believe the hype. In 20 hours, you will witness exquisite artistry. Redmi K20 and Redmi K20 Pro are coming. Believe the hype. In 20 hours, you will witness exquisite artistry. Redmi K20 and Redmi K20 Pro are coming. Believe the hype. In 20 hours, you will witness exquisite artistry. Redmi K20 and Redmi K20 Pro are coming. Believe the hype. In 20 hours, you will witness exquisite artistry. Redmi K20 and Redmi K20 Pro are coming. Believe the hype. In 20 hours, you will witness exquisite artistry. Redmi K20 and Redmi K20 Pro are coming. Believe the hype. 20 hours, you will witness exquisite artistry. Redmi K20 and Redmi K20 Pro are coming. Believe the hype. In 20 hours, you will witness exquisite artistry. Redmi K20 and Redmi K20 Pro are coming. Believe the hype. In 20 hours, you will witness exquisite artistry. Redmi K20 and Redmi K20 Pro are coming. Believe the hype. In 20 hours, you will witness exquisite artistry. Redmi K20 and Redmi K20 Pro are coming. Believe the hype. In 20 hours, you will witness exquisite artistry. Redmi K20 and Redmi K20 Pro are coming. Believe the hype. In 20 hours, you will witness exquisite artistry. Redmi K20 and Redmi K20 Pro are coming. Believe the hype. In 20 hours, you will witness exquisite artistry. Redmi K20 and Redmi K20 Pro are coming. Believe the hype.
Never. Now that's really impressive.
Looking good, brother. Hello there. Looking this good isn't easy, but the Media trimmer makes it easy. With its premium quad-edge design, exceptional hand feel, and solid grip. ये आपके हाथों से कभी नहीं गिरेगा. And it is bound to make you look amazing. about as amazing as it looks itself. Or at least as amazing as these guys.
That was great. Thank you so much, guys. So that's the all-new Mi beard trimmer for you guys. It comes with 40 lens settings, ultra-precise self-sharpening blades. It has an amazingly long battery life, IPX7 waterproof body, and a quad-edge design, which gives it a very premium feel. And all these features are being launched at an honest price of rupees 1,199 only. So what are you waiting for? Go and grab your Mi beard trimmer right now. See you soon.
Xiaomi.
Excommunicado. Going live in 5. Excommunicado. Going live in 5. Excommunicado. Going live in 5.
So this is the most requested smartphone in a while.
This phone was nothing but a rumor.
It's actually kind of insane.
None of them have impressed me as much as this guy.
Gosh, this is just a beautifully designed phone.
Really crazy pattern on it.
Guys, this is a gorgeous display. As you can tell, the colors, they just pop.
Not to mention, that pop-up camera, that is a massive power move.
Xiaomi, you've done it again.
I'm starting to feel like this might be the value champion. I'm starting to feel like this is gonna be tough to beat.
Good afternoon to everybody. Can you guys hear me? Okay. A big warm welcome. We have around 855 people in this room. We have around 480 Mi fans. Mi fans, give me a cheer. No, give me a flagship cheer. We have our media colleagues, we have all our partners. In fact, a lot of our partners have flown from different parts of the country. Some have come from a few other countries. So thank you so much, everybody, for taking out time. And a big warm welcome to everybody who's watching us live. So before we start, these are the hashtags that we are using today. Redmi K20, K20 Pro, flagship killer, and believe the hype. So if you guys are posting anything on social media, you're tweeting, putting on Facebook, Instagram, do use these hashtags. And what I can do on your behalf, I can request to Anuj sir that we should give out the fastest phone in the world, one of that, to maybe by the end of the day, right? So please do use these hashtags. Now, let's start with our presentation. So this is a great month for us. Not only we are launching the fastest phone in the world, but this also marks our 5th year anniversary. So yes, Xiaomi India just turned 5-year-old day before yesterday. Thank you. This was our first launch event, our then flagship Mi 3. And you can see our co-founder and president of the company, Ben, Hugo, Sachin, who was the CEO of Flipkart, all of us at the Mi 3 launch event. We also introduced many other devices like Redmi 1S, Redmi Note, and many of our media colleagues were there. We had Deepak, I saw Deepak today. We had Anuj Bhatia, we have Abhishek Bhatnagar, and many other media colleagues. And I really want to thank all of you guys because you have been part of this journey. You have helped us, you have guided us over the last 5 years. And this was the first office, literally a small, tiny little office where only 6 people could sit. This was in Bangalore, and for the longest period of time, our entire business plan was that we'll only have 10 people in India. So we said, okay, let's start with a small 6-seater office. And today we have more than 1,000 people. We have also become the #1 smartphone brand, #1 smart TV brand, #1 fitness brand, and #1 power bank brand. So thank you so much, everybody. On smartphones, we have been the largest brand for 7 consecutive quarters. Hopefully, fingers crossed, the 8th quarter. The results for 8th quarter are still not out. We have some of our IDC colleagues. I'll request them, maybe they can release the report very soon, right? So hopefully, if everything goes right, for 8 consecutive quarters, which is 2 consecutive years. And today we have about 30% market share, which means if there are 3 people who buy a smartphone in India, 1 out of 3 are Xiaomi customers. Thank you. We are the #1 brand in online segment with about 50% market share. And of course, we sell through multiple platforms. But what is most interesting is our own e-commerce platform, me.com, has become the 3rd largest e-commerce platform when it comes to electronics or smartphone sales. Flipkart, Amazon, and then me.com. And me.com is probably the largest single brand retail platform in the country. We have been launching many more devices. For example, last year we introduced TVs, and we have become the largest smart TV brand. We have around 40% market share, 39 to be precise. And what is most interesting is if you combine the market share of #2, #3, and #4 brands, which is Samsung, Sony, and LG, all of them combined are at 40%, and Xiaomi itself is at 40%. Every time we do a launch event, we talk about our specs, about our price, but one of the things that truly defines who we are is our focus on quality. This is something that we really value. We have a separate team, department, only working on quality improvement. And I'm happy to share, as per the latest report from Red Quanta, which just got released yesterday, we are now the #1 quality brand amongst the top 5 brands. So Red Quanta measures something called as FFR, field failure rate, which shows that if you sell 100 devices, how many of them come back with any kind of defect, with the hardware or software. And the company which has the lowest defect rate or lowest FFR has the highest quality. So we have the highest quality. We are 20% higher than the second brand, which is Samsung, about 60 or 80% higher than #3, #4 brands, which are Oppo and Vivo, and about 133% higher than all other brands. That was not intentional. In case, even if you face any problem, we still have the largest service network. We are the #1 after-sales service brand. We have more than 1,000 service centers for our phones and about 500 service centers for our TV. And we can repair 98% of the complaints within 4 hours. Now, all of this we have achieved. A big thanks to all our Mi fans. I see so many of you sitting over here. And for this, thank you. So on this 5th anniversary, we decided to do something special for all our Mi fans. So we picked up 20 Mi fans, and we decided to give them 1 star each. So yes, there are 20 real stars in this universe, which are named after 20 Mi fans. In fact, we have a wall in our office where we have names of many of the Mi fans who have been part of this journey, who have loved Xiaomi. And you can see that many of these Mi fans have already they've already joined Xiaomi. So they're part of our team. The first person to join was Rohit Galsasi bro. I hope Rohit is here today. Then we have Sameer, we have Nisar, and many other team members. They're part of our quality team, our testing team, our product team, our marketing teams, and they're really helping us succeed in India. Every time we launch a product, we go to our Mi fans and ask them how we can improve these products. And we started the first Explorer program almost 3 years ago. Do you remember which device was this? Yes, Redmi Note 3. And then we repeated this program with Redmi Note 4 and then few other devices. And then we brought back this program for Redmi K20 and K20 Pro. So this time, we selected 48 Mi Explorers, and they've been using this device for more than a month. They've been giving us feedback on how we can make this the perfect flagship device ever. And a lot of you guys have given very good feedback. For example, Anil says, this is the most fluid and snappy experience that I've ever experienced. Mohammed says, the lenses allow you to capture photos, with different perspective. The details of the photographs are really mind-blowing. And then we have Asta who talks about the back of the phone and says it gives a very different shine, and there's no way that it would not grab your attention. So again, thanks to all our Mi Explorers who have given us feedback and who have made these phones even better. So today, we are introducing the Redmi K series, K20 and K20 Pro. And a lot of you guys have asked this question, what does K stand for? So let me show you a quick video on what does K mean.
What does it take to be ahead of the curve? To be ahead of your time and change the times we live in. To go where no one else has gone before. Don't let anything hold you back and break through to the next level. Take a good look at your limits and fly by them without a second glance. Only then can you rise to the top, a winner. So are you just another follower? Or do you believe in being the alpha? The K-Series by Xiaomi, ahead of the curve.
So what does K mean? K can actually mean a lot of things. It can mean king of smartphones. It can also mean flagship killer. But for me, K really means that this is a very neutral yet powerful alphabet, which shows that this is a device for everybody who want to outperform. People who are futuristic, people who want to stay ahead of curve. And we're launching 2 phones in this series, which is Redmi K20 and K20 Pro. So let's start with the world's fastest phone, which is Redmi K20 Pro. And to talk more about this, I'll call on stage somebody who's more handsome than me, Sir Anuj Sharma.
Thank you. All right. Thank you, Manu. Wow, 5 years. Right. 5 incredible years. And of course, as Manu spoke about, a lot has changed. And today, obviously, is a very special day for us, and it is a special month. And I personally also want to thank our extended Xiaomi family, all our fans, right? Extremely important to everything that we do. And over the presentation itself, you will see all those elements coming in. Our partners that are also here today, you've made a big difference to Xiaomi's story in India. And of course, all our media colleagues who help tell this story to the larger people. I'm Anuj, and I lead marketing at Xiaomi India. And of course, today I'm here to talk about a very special product. Now, since we started 5 years ago with the Redmi series in India, this has been in the works. We have been slowly inching up all the way to this day making this a very special product. In fact, it's so special that we've decided to call it the Alpha flagship. Right? It's more than a flagship, and it is built on 4 key principles. 4 key principles that we believe all our Mi fans find really important. One is performance, right? There has to be absolutely no compromise when you're putting a flagship together. The second part, and this is frankly taking a lot of feedback from consumers, something new for Xiaomi, which is excellent design. And finally, we have a design that actually takes that word flagship to the next level. Third is cameras. Cameras are becoming really important, imaging, and we will talk about it. And the fourth part, which I think is something which is really important, and that is what is giving this Alpha tag, is giving a flagship with absolutely no compromises. I will talk about those compromises as well, but first, let's start with the flagship performance part of it. Now, with flagship performance, we were looking at the fastest chip available for mobile computing today. And of course, no guesses there. Our friends over at Qualcomm have done an absolutely phenomenal job with this particular chip. So the Qualcomm Snapdragon 855. Thank you. The most powerful chip available for smartphones today in the world. And this is an incredible technology marvel. It's built on a 7-nanometer technology process, and it's also the biggest leap that Qualcomm has ever taken in terms of performance on a generation perspective. Since starting Snapdragon 800 series back in 2013, they have been making increments, but nothing is as high a jump as the 855 versus 845, a massive 45% jump. Now, a 45% jump might not really seem too much when you look at the lower segments, but to push the absolute high technology, the flagship part, up by 45 is really hard. I'll give you an example. If man can run 100 meters in about 9.58 seconds, right? That's the record currently. If you have to beat that by 45%, you would have to have somebody run 100 meters in less than 6 seconds. That is so much of a gap that you bring when you're pushing the limits to the next level. And with 855, it's a marvelous job that Qualcomm has done getting you this chip. How does it do it? It's an all-new architecture that they've implemented. It's a tri-cluster architecture for the very first time on the 800 series. What you have is 4 Cryo 485 silver cores. Now, these silver cores are powerful enough to handle all your daily requirements, whether it's watching videos, emails, chats, so what you have. However, going beyond that, you also have the Cryo gold cores. And these gold cores handle the heavy lifting part of it, when you put games out there, right? And those are clocked at 2.42 gigahertz. And then there's one very special core. It's called the Prime core. And this Prime core is clocked even higher at 2.84 gigahertz. And not just the clock frequency, it also has more cache in it. Now, why do you need this, right? Why do you need this change in architecture? A lot of our apps are still single-threaded. That means they don't really use all the cores properly, and those single-threaded apps, the Prime core handles with really great speed, gets them done, gets them out of the way so that you keep moving forward. Your phone will not see a stutter, will not slow down. And that makes it really important, giving you that massive 45% jump in the overall performance. The next part, obviously, for a flagship performance, which is absolutely important for all of us, right, is gaming. And with gaming, again, with the Snapdragon 855, you get Adreno 640 graphics processing unit, and what Qualcomm is terming this as elite gaming. Now, elite gaming gets Vulkan API 1.1. For those people who play games on PCs, you would have heard the words DirectX, OpenGL. Vulkan is like that. However, it has a few advantages. it is cross-platform. That means, yes, it extends to phones. And the second part is it also is a lot more power efficient and handles the GPU and CPU balance a lot better. That means between the CPU and the graphics unit, it balances the entire load so that there's no bottlenecks anywhere. Along with this, this GPU is also very special to us because it's got cinematic post-processing. And why this is important, I'll talk to you about this in the later stages. It's got better depth of field. When you're gaming, the 3D graphics have a better depth of field. It's got high dynamic range, or HDR. Makes those screens pop. Again, very important for the K20 Pro. And of course, better physics. Now, both CPU and GPU have seen a jump of 45% and 20% each. And these are obviously major numbers, big numbers for any flagship chip. And this, along with the 7 nanometer chipset, means that it's also more power efficient. The CPU is 20% more power efficient than 845 and 30% more power efficient in the GPU side compared to the previous generation. So incredible numbers. What does it all mean? You obviously get incredible performance. If you have to compare performance, so if you look at last year's numbers, so you had the iPhone 10 running the A11, and that was at about 245 in terms of Antutu score. And then, of course, you had the 845, which itself was a great chip. And that you saw with our friends at Poco, the Poco F1, and that obviously beat the iPhone with a healthy margin. So you had 291. Then the new iPhones have a 812 Bionic. It's improved, right? And that clocks at about 356. Any guesses where the K20 is? Go on. It is at 388, making it one of the fastest phones available today. Now, what do you do with all this performance, right? For most of our Mi fans, the very first answer that comes is better gaming. And our thought was, how do we make this gaming even better? So with this, we are introducing the second generation Game Turbo. And this makes a lot of difference. It enhances the overall gameplay by doing a couple of things that we all expect. So you get better performance, it's optimized, you have better network optimization as well so that your pings are lower. However, we've gone one step ahead. We've done something that nobody else has. We've improved the overall touch response. Right? So touch latency can be adjusted as per your requirements. Again, very important. For example, if you're playing, say, a battle royale game, right? How quickly does that touch respond to your fire button so that you are able to kill the other enemy on the other side of the world? Makes a lot of difference in your overall gameplay. The second one, which again is very new, is the overall visual enhancements. So you can see more with the second generation Game Turbo on the K20 Pro. And I'll talk about both of these in a bit. And the last part, which probably we don't really take into consideration very often, but it is becoming more and more important in gaming, is sound. So you've got sound quality optimization. Now suppose you are playing a multiplayer game, you can actually hear the footsteps accurately coming from different directions. And in-game call optimization, so when you are playing a multiplayer game and you're talking to your friends, it also helps with background noise reduction. I mean, we all have been in a particular game where this one guy left his mic on and kept chattering, right? Or there's some music happening, or his mother's calling at the back. Hopefully all of this kind of gets sorted with this. So I actually want to talk about two of these things. One is the touch enhancement and the enhanced visuals. From an enhanced visuals perspective, you actually get massive advantage. With Enhanced Visuals 2.0, you actually get night vision in games which are really dark. So for example, if you are playing, let's say PUBG Mobile, and you've got a day and night match happening, at night, you need to look around for those night vision goggles. How many people play a Battle Royale game here? Okay. The people in the middle are slightly boring. All these guys are happening. So it becomes really important because when you are playing at night, and if suppose you don't have those night vision glasses which you have to find in-game, with the K20 Pro, you'll still be able to see what's happening in the dark. So it's almost giving a massive advantage to people versus, I think this is the next best thing versus hacking. So don't hack, that's not good for anyone. But this one is giving you a hardware advantage. So if you look at it, night vision on versus a typical smartphone and how the renders change. Now, when you are comparing this and when you are playing a competitive game, the next part that is most important is touch. And we wanted to make the touch the absolute fastest that you can get on a smartphone. So here, you can actually change your touch response from a sampling rate of 120 Hertz all the way to 180 Hertz, a 50% jump. So depending on how good you are in the game, how quickly you want your in-game character to react, this makes a whole lot of difference coming in with just the touch response. This again is something that pretty much nobody else has. So the K20 Pro again gives you an advantage when gaming with us. And not just the touch part of it, the other part is, for example, if you've got a gun, which is not an automatic, and you've got burst mode. So what do? You do repeated taps, right? So you tap once, twice, thrice, as quickly as possible so that you get your bullets out. For that also, we've improved the overall touch response or sensitivity. So when you tap very quickly 3 times, it'll detect all 3 times. It'll not merge it into only 2 taps or 1. And this also starts making a difference in terms of gameplay. And this obviously, all of this is absolutely important because you've got all that power, you will be gaming, and all of this adds to that gaming experience, giving you a gaming experience like none other out there. So you've got a really powerful chipset and optimizations, and we will have an alpha configuration of up to 8 GB of DDR4X clocked at 2133 MHz, as well as a storage variant going all the way to 256 GB, which is via UFS 2.1. Now, this is a lot of power under the hood. Now, to cool that off and to ensure that you don't face any lags, even if you're playing for 30 minutes, 60 minutes, we have added an all-new 8-layer graphite cooling system. It is largely so that heat is drawn away from your system really quickly, and you can stay at the peak performance without any throttling for a longer time. How is it different? A typical smartphone will just have one particular layer. On the K20 Pro, it is actually on both sides, right? So right on the top and the bottom, you've got the graphite cooling solution coming in. However, on the main side, this actually is an 8-layer graphite cooling system, which means faster heat dissipation. How fast? When we look at an equivalent smartphone, now the iPhone 10 has a 40 micron meter single layer graphite, and the K20 Pro again has a 40 micron meter but 8 layer. The difference between the heat dissipation of these two devices is 650%. Makes a huge difference when you are using this cooling solution. So overall, from a performance perspective, no holds barred. You've got a flagship gaming experience. You've got Snapdragon 855 that comes with the all-new Cryo 485 architecture. You've got the Adreno 640 GPU with all the enhancements that you saw. Of course, we've added to it by putting a second-generation game turbo, and you saw all those visual enhancements as well as touch enhancements. You have up to 8 GB of LPDDR4X RAM and a cooling system to match all of it. It's an 8-layer graphite cooling system. Now that's philosophy number 1 to get the flagship right. I'll move on to the next one. And this is something that we call Aura Design. Now Aura Design is something that we had introduced very recently, about 5 months back. It's a change in the overall philosophy. Redmi series for the last 4.5 years or so has obviously been known for incredible functional design. On top of that, we've added 2 more parameters for designing all the phones this year. You have an immersive experience. How immersive is that phone? And of course, a big focus on craftsmanship. The materials that we use and the way it looks, all of that matters. And culminating into all of this is something that we call Aura Prime. This is the peak design that we've managed to achieve on the Redmi series. And let me introduce the very first variant or very first color to you here. Now this is the Glacier Blue. It does not look like any other phone out there in the market. It's absolutely stunning looking, but not just that, it's also built really well. The entire frame is built out of industrial grade aluminum. And if you can see the glass beautifully merging into that frame, it just looks like one whole unibody device. The glass that I'm talking about is a 3D curved glass, and even at the back is protected by Corning's Gorilla Glass 5. And this glass is curved. It's a 3D curved glass, but the curvature changes ever so slightly when you get to the bottom. Again, to match that frame and of course give you that great hand feel. While we've used premium materials, what we did was another engineering marvel. If you look at, again, equivalent phones that have used materials like this, say the OnePlus 7 Pro or the XS Max, what they've not been able to do is manage the weight. It becomes unwieldy to hold after some time. For example, the OnePlus 7 Pro is at 206 grams, while the XS Max is 208 grams. Now, without compromising on the build quality, without compromising on the materials, we managed to get the K20 Pro at just 191 grams. This makes it the lightest true full-screen flagship in the market today. And not just that, obviously it's built well and looks stunning. We made these subtle design changes. For example, around the camera, you've got this holographic ring accent. Looks absolutely brilliant. Or the iconic red button. And this red button is actually going through all our variants. It looks absolutely stunning, and especially on the blue one, the red and blue or the red and black looks absolutely phenomenal. Along with that, we made some more changes. For example, LED notification light. Yes, we are a flagship and we still have a LED notification light, and it comes in like no other. So you've got a very unique LED notification light up top. So talking about the build quality, aluminum industrial grade frame, you've got a curved Corning Gorilla Glass 5 at the back with slightly different curvature. It's a 3D overall, and you've got accents like the holographic ring or the power button. And all of this has been designed along with the weight that I spoke about to give you that ergonomic fit. Over time, our designers have been thoughtfully working towards getting you that perfect hand feel, and that's what you get with a K20 Pro. Now that's about ergonomics. Let me get into the next color. Now that is the flame red. You guys like it? Blue or red? Okay. All I heard was bread. All right. For you guys who must be wondering, how is this happening? How is this dynamic pattern working? Let me show you this one. Now, this is, again, very thoughtfully designed. And this happens with 6 different layers coming in and how the light plays off it. Of course, right at the top, you saw the 3D curved glass pack, which is a Corning Gorilla Glass 5. But underneath that, you've got the gradient color and the holographic layer playing together. And this is what's giving you those different patterns flying in, right? And the bottom one, is also really important because this is the reflective layer that puts that light back. What does it all mean? And focus on the last one, because the phone looks very different under low light. So in dim light, it looks like a really good gradient design coming in. But when you have harsher light, when you have a stronger light, it completely changes. And you start seeing that flame coming in. As you move that light around, these flames almost seem alive. And that starts looking extremely different to anything else that you've seen before. In fact, the device in itself looks really stunning. So here's an image of the flame red. This is a camera shot image. It's not a 3D render. And as you can see, the flame pattern's really shining through. So it's all the 6 layers working together to give you a design like no other. But not just the red, even the blue, I agree, looks stunning. And the blue also plays really well with different lights. So when you move that light around, you start seeing this entire pattern emerging. Now these, as you could probably understand, the glacier blue and the flame red are inspired by the fire and ice design. But for the very first time on any of our devices, we are also having a second design philosophy. And this is slightly different from the fire and ice, and we are calling it inspired by carbon. Yes. Finally, some people for black. So this one is my personal favorite. It still is a 6-layer design. That means under bright light, you start seeing this depth to this Kevlar pattern. It looks absolutely stunning, but of course, in my opinion, I think it's the classiest. Manu and Raghu are on the red and blues, so we'll see what happens later. But this is not a regular Kevlar pattern. It's slightly different. What we've done is we've taken the standard Kevlar pattern that our friends over at Poco use, and then we've added a Mark Newson pattern, giving you a very different effect, unlike any pattern that you would have seen with Kevlar designs or Kevlar phones. And this obviously gives you a lot more premium aesthetic, as well as a very understated design. What you would also notice is some things have changed compared to the fire and ice design. For example, the camera is now red, and that red matched with black looks absolutely stunning. The power button is also red, so it all goes well together. So, 3 colors, 2 philosophies, all coming into one alpha flagship. You've got the flame red, glacier blue, and the carbon black, all looking incredible together. Now, from a design perspective, one is how it looks, or how the phone itself looks. The other part about design is when you look at the phone, what you see. And that is also part of the Aura Prime design. And for the first time ever, we are introducing an AMOLED display on a Redmi device. And we are calling this the Horizon AMOLED display. Right? It's a bit more than just a regular AMOLED. It is the true full screen experience. There are no notches, there are no holes, there are no obstructions to your viewing experience. It goes completely edge to edge in this incredible 6.39-inch full HD plus display. It is AMOLED, and we've pushed it all the way to the edges, giving you an incredible 91.9 screen to body ratio. How we've done this is also really great. We've got narrow bezels on the side. It's only 1.85 millimeter. On the top, it's a 2.1, and when we go at the bottom, it's just 3.8, right? Making it the bare minimum bezels that you can have a phone with this technology without actually compromising on any structural integrity. The overall trade-off obviously is that what you get is absolutely incredible. With this amazing screen, what we've also got is theater-grade viewing experience. So the color gamut of this panel is actually the DCI P3 color gamut. It's more than NTSC, it's more balanced than the regular NTSC 100%. And this is something that was started off by the digital cinema initiatives in Americas. And now most of your feature films are using the DCI-P3 color gamut. What that means is when you're watching those movies on your phone, on your K20 Pro, you're going to see exactly how the movie maker intended you to see that movie. But not just that, you also have a very high brightness panel. This is 600 nits. This is the brightest panel that we've ever put on a phone. And both of these combined give you an incredible overall viewing experience. And we decided to top it off even further. We also have HDR support on the K20 Pro. So whether you're viewing content or you're playing games, it has all of this. And I guess I can see a couple of faces. Yes, Netflix is supported. You do have the Widevine L1 support, which should be coming in on Friday morning on the K20 Pro. So all your favorite games and content have the HDR support coming in. And for the uninitiated, of course, I'm assuming most of the Mi fans know the HDR mode when it comes to gaming, right? So when you're playing PUBG and you move to an HDR, if your phone supports it, you can see a lot more. The difference is actually quite stark. So this is without HDR and with HDR. Let me show you this side by side. And it starts making a whole lot of difference. Again, I'm going to go back to gaming. So imagine you are here and you're gaming, and this is the final circle. For the gamers who know what the final circle means, and there are a lot of snakes in the grass. Not literal snakes, but obviously people kind of crouched. With HDR mode, chances that you will spot them is a lot more. When you go back to second generation Game Turbo and you put on the visual enhancements, chances that you'll see them is even higher. So you are actually getting a massive gaming advantage with this particular phone, with all of these optimizations coming in. It is AMOLED, so we decided to go a step further. And for the first time, we've got an always-on display on the K20 Pro. So right on the screen, without you having to touch the phone, you get the basic information as well as all the icons for your notification, so you know exactly if you need to pick up the phone or not. And when this was looking so good, we decided to take it one step further, and we added a system-wide dark mode. So your entire UI goes dark. Now, while we are at the screen part of it, we've also added a 7th generation in-screen fingerprint sensor. It's super fast, it's super accurate. We've increased the overall size of the fingerprint sensor so that chances of wrong taps is reduced. So from a Horizon AMOLED display perspective, you get a 6.39-inch Full HD Plus AMOLED display, which you can use to watch all your HDR content. Of course, it is a high brightness panel. It's about 600 nits. It is gentle on the eyes. You've got dark mode. You've got a reading mode certified by TUV. And of course, for those people who care, we also have DC dimming and an incredible 91.9 screen to body ratio. Now this obviously looks absolutely stunning, but this creates a bit of a problem for us. Right? Where do we put the front camera? And we decided to move the camera up. So again, for the very first time, we're moving the camera into a pop-up selfie, and that mechanism sits right on top. Now this camera obviously adds a bit more versus everyone else. My favorite feature of the pop-up camera has to be the CELS. What is CELS? The camera edge lighting system. This is the first in the world to have this. And of course, apart from looking really cool, it has one key functionality, is when you are taking a selfie, everyone in your group is automatically drawn to where the camera is. They automatically end up looking at the camera, and you get perfect selfies every time. You don't have to tell people where to look. So obviously it looks stunning as well, but because this was the first time ever that we had a moving part in any of our smartphones, we had to ensure that we had the best quality parameters. As Manu mentioned, quality is paramount for Xiaomi India, and with the pop-up camera, we had to be doubly sure of this. So the pop-up camera is tested for 300,000 times. That means If you're taking 100 selfies a day, it will last you more than 8 years. I think by the time we'll have K100. Now that's one part of it, right? That's the regular operation. What happens if you accidentally drop your K20 Pro while taking a selfie? It also has drop protection. It senses a fall from the gyroscope. It'll tell the CPU, which instructs the motor to withdraw the camera, and before it falls, you are safe. Now, in case you dropped it from a very low height and the camera didn't withdraw, we've put in another protection to it. The front camera lens is protected by sapphire glass, so you don't get those scratches. So amazing amount of engineering gone into this one moving part. So of course you've got the sapphire lens, you've got a magnetic switch which detects accidental presses for the pop-up camera. Of course, the gyroscope detects if it's getting a fall and retracts the camera, and it is tested for 300,000 cycles, ensuring that through the lifetime of the K20 Pro, you will not face any problems with this one moving part. Now that's about the quality part of it. Of course, it is a brilliant camera. It is a 20 megapixel camera in the front with all the cool features that you expect from a Xiaomi flagship. So you've got AI scene detection, you've got AI portrait mode, and you also have something called a panorama selfie. So when you are standing with a huge group, you just move your phone around and you can capture the entire group in one shot. Now, when we were looking at this pop-up selfie camera, there's one more thing that we had to kind of solve for, and that is face unlock. Now, you do have the in-screen fingerprint sensor, but we've added the AI face unlock to this as well. Now, of course, the AI face unlock will have to have the pop-up camera rise. So that's why the in-screen fingerprint sensor is a 7th generation one, and that is the fastest way to unlock the device securely. Now this is from the front camera perspective. Let's move to the back, and that's where the fun starts. We've got AI triple camera, again a first for Redmi series in India. And these cameras are interesting actually. So you've got 3 cameras. However, there's been a little trend of sorts where you put triple camera, but one camera is pretty much not doing anything, right? You call it depth. We decided not to have that. Pretty much like in Xiaomi India, Manu has a job for everyone. For these cameras, each camera has a very critical job to do. Of course, the first one, or the primary camera, is a 48 megapixel camera. And this is Sony IMX586 that a lot of you already know. Has been absolutely loved on some of our devices. There's an additional 13 megapixel ultra wide angle camera. And this is wider than any other ultra wide cameras available in the market today. And we've added a third one, which is a telephoto. So you get incredible details as well as an ultra wide mode. And if you need to go closer for portraiture, you also have an 8 MP. None of them are not doing anything, I guess. None of them are just depth sensors. But not just this. I mean, the camera system is a lot more complex than it. There are 3 cameras. Along with that, there's also a laser autofocus, right? And, of course, you have the dual LED flash. And all of it works together to give you really different perspectives for every capture. So when you capture with the 48, or you capture with the 13 megapixel ultra wide, or you go closer to the subject with the 8 megapixel 2x telephoto, all of them gives you a very different result. Essentially, cameras are for the creative folks, and this lets you unleash that creativity in the best possible way. Let me talk a bit more on the 48. Now, this is the Sony IMX586. It is the highest resolution camera sensor available today, and if I can probably say that, nobody knows 586 better than Xiaomi does. Right? We've got it on most amount of devices, and of course, we've been tuning it ever since we were one of the first few to launch this, and it's become even better. Now that 48 is combined with a f1.75 aperture lens, giving you incredible details. If you take a look at this particular image, right, the detailing is absolutely top-notch. You can see every window. You can actually count the floors on all of these buildings there. And this is the magic of 48. However, what's interesting is this is just a part of that 48. Captures a lot more. And of course, we know the advantage of having a high resolution camera sensor. Versus a 12 megapixel, not only do you get more information, but you also get better clarity when you're pixel peeping and you're going really close. So you get that advantage with the 48 megapixel on the K20 Pro. But 48 megapixel is just not enough. Like I said, you need to know how to tune this. And we've done exactly that. If you compare it with other people carrying a similar sensor, let's take a look at this one, right? So you've got the OnePlus 7 Pro, which also has a 48 megapixel camera, and you've got the K20 Pro. You can start seeing that difference. Actually, if I go closer, you start seeing even more difference. If you think the flower is pixelated, it is by design. It's a Lego. But you can start seeing the difference in terms of the overall exposure it's able to kind of manage and the colors. And this is where Xiaomi's enhanced AI as well as camera optimization really comes to the fore, and it stands out. Now that's the 48. I'm going to move on to the next camera, which is the 8 megapixel telephoto. And this comes really well in handy when you're going in for those portraiture shots, when you're trying to capture a subject like this one. And this 8 megapixel does an excellent job there. But not just that, suppose you're trying to take a picture of an object, it again shines. If you take a look at this particular image, right? And this one actually has been shot through one of our fans, Biswajit, who is part of the Me Explorer program, and this is an absolutely brilliant image there. So thank you, Biswajit, wherever he is. When we look at telephotos, we also did a bit of a comparison here with the 10S as well as the 7 Pro. And let me go a little closer to show you the differences. Not only is the detailing and light on the face a lot better, but if you look at the crown, again, all that information that you can see on the K20 Pro is far ahead of the other two. So it does a much better job there. Now that's been the 48 megapixel main camera and the 8 megapixel telephoto. We've got a third one, and this one obviously is a magical camera lens. It's a 13 megapixel ultra wide. It's 124.8 degrees. It's wider than anything else out there, and of course, lets you capture a lot more. Why do you need this? So for example, when you're taking a shot like this, right? Now this shot, again, was by Vivek. He was part of the Me Explorer program. When you're taking a shot like this, camera's AI will automatically detect that this is a landmark, you're too close to it, and it will recommend you to move to the ultra-wide mode. And when you move to the ultra-wide mode, you see the entire picture. Right? So putting them side by side, of course, this 124.8 does a magical job when you're trying to capture these landmarks, when you're capturing a lot more information from that angle. And to move between each of these lenses, we made it super easy. So just plain UI gestures, pinch in or pinch out. It's really easy to kind of move between each of these lenses. There's also a visual indicator of 0.6, 1, and 2x. So it becomes really easy. From a camera perspective, we've also added a night mode. So you get that incredible 48 megapixel adding on to this night mode through a super pixel technology. And what you get along with that is laser autofocus. So fast focus even in the dark, which means you get incredible night shots like this one. Now, these are things that you've seen from Xiaomi in the past. There's one more new AI algorithm that I wanted to talk about, and that is called AI skyscaping. And this is quite incredible. Let me get into the images itself. Now, this is an image that was taken in Pondicherry. It's at about 7 in the morning, right? So you see that beautiful mist coming into the land, and you've got a nice peaceful landscape happening at the back. Now, with Xiaomi's AI engine, you actually can change the entire sky at one click. And that becomes the main sunlight mode. It's not just the sky, but if you notice, the entire lighting on the buildings, on the subject also changes. Look very carefully. I'm going to go into dusk. So it looks absolutely realistic. Now this is a lot of AI firepower coming in behind, but for us on the K20 Pro with that much performance, it happens in an instant. And of course, if you want to make it look really dramatic, you also have a sunset mode. Everything changes. The light on the buildings, the light on the subject, as well as, of course, the sky that you notice. Okay. So we are introducing this for the first time on the K20 Pro, the AI skyscaping. And of course, one more thing that Mi fans have loved, we're adding 960 frames per second slow motion. And at 960 frames per second, obviously what you see is a lot more. And along with that, you get 4K UHD recording at 60 frames per second. Now this is slightly different because all three cameras support 4K, not just one. You know, for the people who take videos, that is an ultimate expression of creativity. And by limiting you to just one lens, I think we will be holding you back. And that's why we made this exception. So whether you want to go closer or you want to take an ultra-wide shot or just the regular, you get 4K 60 in all three. In fact, our team did exactly that. So they went out to this amazing state of Kerala and shot this video, all shot on the K20 Pro. Take a look. And that's the power of having all three lenses and the ability to use all three really well. You get results like that. So moving on from a camera perspective, we also have Google Lens built into the viewfinder for the very first time. So when you've got your camera open, all you need to do is press, long press on the thing that you want to detect, and Google Lens will automatically detect it. It's again a first for the K series. So that sums up the camera, or my third philosophy, which is incredible camera. So you've got a 48 MP AI triple camera at the back. So you've got a 48 MP IMX 586 along with an 8 MP telephoto and a 13 megapixel ultra wide. You have AI skyscaping, you have 960 frames per second, you've got 4K video recording on all three lenses, everything that you want from a flagship. And of course, for the first time ever, we've got a pop-up camera. It's a 20 megapixel pop-up camera with, again, all the AI enhancements that you expect from a Xiaomi flagship. Now, coming to the fourth part, or the fourth philosophy of what makes it a flagship, and that is probably the most important one, is having no compromises. Zero compromises on a flagship, which is really hard to find these days. First one, of course, is no compromise on the battery. You have a 4000 mAh large battery. And this, combined with a 7 nanometer chip and an OLED panel, gives you incredible battery life. And on top of that, we've added even more software optimization. So you have a dark mode, you have dynamic power mode, everything else coming in, giving you almost 2 days of battery life with the K20 Pro. And there was one more ask along with battery, is how fast can it charge? So happy to announce that the K20 Pro will come with, or will support, sorry, a 27-watt sonic charge. We'll talk about the sonic charge in a bit. But what this 27-watt sonic charge does is in just 15 minutes, it'll give you 10 plus hours of 4G VoLTE talk time. So incredible when you really need that power on the go. Of course, in 30 minutes, it goes all the way to 58% off of 4000 mAh power bank. The next no compromise that I want to talk about, and this is something that has plagued flagships for almost 3 years now, is slowly all the flagships have suddenly decided that none of the people need a headphone jack. Well, the K20 Pro thinks otherwise. We have the headphone jack here. And the headphone jack does much more. Because it is a flagship, it is a high-res audio certified headphone jack. It's got a DAC, and the music on this sounds absolutely incredible if you've got the right drivers for it. Now, not just from a headphone perspective, but even the speaker has been enhanced. It's a larger 0.9 cubic centimeter large speaker box with smart PA. That means it's louder and clearer than ever before. All of it coming into the K20 Pro. We've added one new thing as well. For the first time ever on any of our devices, we are also introducing dual band GPS. So it supports both L1 and L5. The advantage obviously is more accurate positioning and navigation, so especially when you're driving around and you get to this circle which has 5 roads and you don't know exactly which right you have to take, this accuracy really starts making a difference. One more thing that we've not compromised is on splash proof. It comes certified by P2I. In fact, we said let's not test it ourselves, but we sent it over to our friends over at London. Let's see what they had to say about this.
Hey, I'm Richard, Head of Applications at P2I in the UK, and today I want to talk to you about our flagship splashproof technology. When Xiaomi reached out to us and explained their vision towards creating a flagship smartphone, we started working on a solution that gives your phone an unrivaled lifetime protection. Splashproof technology helps with repelling any liquid that comes near, which ensures that your smartphone is fully protected. We brought our flagship splashproof protection together with Xiaomi's improved hardware design, which we have verified here in our UK labs, so that your Redmi K20 or K20 Pro is truly ahead of the curve.
So that sums it up. The 4 key things that you need for the Alpha flagship. You need flagship performance, and with Snapdragon's 855, along with the LPDDR4X, our 2nd generation game turbo, and our 8-layer graphite cooling, you get exactly that. You get an amazing Aura Prime design. You've got 3 colors, as well as Corning Gorilla Glass 5, both in the front and the back, and along with that, an aluminum frame. You've got 48 MP AI triple cameras, giving you incredible results, whether you want to take it on 48 or if you want to go ultra wide on the 13 or really go close with the 8. And no compromises on hardware, charging speeds, headphone jack, spill proof, everything that you want in a particular flagship. And to sum it all up, we've got an amazing product video. Let's play that, please. So that's the K20 Pro. Now today we've got one more device in the family. We are kickstarting the K series, the K20. Now with the K20, unlike a lot of other brands where they have a huge difference between the Pro and the non-Pro variant, we decided to keep the experiences as close as possible. Right? It is definitely for a slightly different group, but we didn't want to compromise on all the latest and greatest things that we've got. So the K20 also comes with this incredible Aura Prime design. It looks stunning. It has the same three colors of Glacier Blue, Flame Red, and Carbon Black. It also has Corning Gorilla Glass 5, both in the front and the back, and that aluminum chassis that blends in with the glass. It also has a Horizon AMOLED display. It is a 6.39 inch, and this also supports HDR content along with the DCI-P3 color gamut. It also has an in-screen fingerprint sensor. One change that you get from the K20 Pro when you go to the K20 is we've used Qualcomm's Snapdragon 730. Now this is the latest 700 series chip from Qualcomm, built on an all-new 8 nanometer process, and overall getting you a lot more powerful experience even in the premium mid-range. In fact, Qualcomm 730 is the third most powerful chip from Qualcomm ever, after 855 and 845. So it is actually no slouch. If we compare it with, say, a previous generation 700 series, the gap becomes huge. Almost a 40% jump over the Snapdragon 710. Of course, the 710 we had introduced with the Mi 8 SE last year in May, so things have to obviously improve quite a bit from then on. Another thing with the K20 is you still have an amazing 4000 mAh battery, and you will have an 18 watt in-box fast charger. It supports up to 18 watt. No change in terms of the camera configuration. You still have an 8 megapixel telephoto. You have a 48 megapixel Sony IMX582 sensor and a 13 megapixel ultra wide, giving you incredible shots like this. Or if you go close, you also have amazing macro shots coming in. And with the same camera config and with the same lens config, you obviously get amazing low light images as well, like this one shot on the K20. Now this one's obviously very hard to capture because all the light is coming from the back, and this does an incredible job. So the K20 overall, no change in the experiences. You still get a super fast Qualcomm Snapdragon 730. It's the latest in 700 series, giving you a new Cryo 470 architecture. It's built on 8 nanometer. It also supports the second generation game turbo that we spoke about, so you get enhanced gaming. You have a large battery with an 18 watt fast charge. You have the same Horizon AMOLED display, that beautiful 6.39 inch edge-to-edge display, no holes, no notches, and with a 7th generation fingerprint sensor built right in. Support for HDR, support for DCI-P3, and of course covered with Corning Gorilla Glass 5. Moving on to the cameras, you have a 48 megapixel IMX582 sensor. Again, a half-inch sensor giving you incredible results, combined with a 13 megapixel ultra-wide and a 8 megapixel telephoto. You have a 20 megapixel pop-up selfie. This also goes through all the quality checks that the K20 Pro does. And you have obviously the incredible looking Aura Prime design with the 3 colors coming in. This also has a 3.5 mm jack, and it also supports high-res audio. So pretty much no compromise, even if you're moving from the Pro to the K20. Let's look at overall product video for the K20 as well. So we had the K20 Pro, the Alpha flagship, and a K20 which shares so much of the experiences of the K20 Pro. Now for the next part, I'd like to call Manu back on stage, and of course you know what it's all about.
Okay, so we launched two new devices, the Alpha flagship Redmi K20 Pro and Redmi K20. So what should be the price of these devices? Now, before we go there, let me just talk about the pricing and manufacturing of flagship devices. Typically, the manufacturing, local manufacturing in India of flagships is very tough because they use very high-end sophisticated components, and it's very difficult to manufacture them here in the country. And that's why you see other flagship devices, and you see a huge price gap between their international pricing and their India pricing. For example, OnePlus 7 Pro sells in China at around 45,000 rupee, the highest end variant, and in India at about 53,000 rupee, so 8,000 rupee higher. iPhone XS Max, of course, there's no comparison, right? 79,000 versus 1,24,000. And that's only because most of the components, either the phones are imported in India or majority of components are imported in India. Now with Redmi K20 Pro, we are making all the devices here in the country. And 65% of the phone is locally sourced. So yes, we will get all these tax benefits on 65% and we'll pass it on to our Mi fans. But yes, we will still have to pay taxes and import duty on remaining 35% and also on some of the raw material of the 65%, right? So we'll try and keep it as low as possible. Now for K20 Pro, we were debating on which variants to launch. We also did a poll yesterday, and we believe for K20 Pro, which is the Alpha flagship, majority of people do not want 464, do not want 4128, even do not want 664. So we're launching only two variants, the top two ones, which is 6128 and 8256. Only the best for all our Mi fans. Now, before I go to price, these are really, really great flagship devices. You get best of everything. You can compare it with OnePlus 7 Pro, Samsung S10, iPhone XS Max. It has AMOLED display. It has Snapdragon 855, the fastest processor in the world. It has 48 megapixels Sony IMX 586 camera sensor, 20 MP pop-up, glass body, 4000 mAh headphone jack, almost every single thing that you can ask for. And if you look at the 8256 variant of these flagship devices, OnePlus 7 Pro at 53,000, Samsung S10 does not have a 256 GB, it has 8 GB, 128 GB variant at 62,000. iPhone XS Max does not have 8 GB, it has 4 GB, 256 GB at 1,24,000. And then we have Redmi K20 Pro. So the 8 GB, 256 GB variant of Redmi K20 Pro is being launched at 30,999 rupees. And the 6 GB, 128 GB is being launched at 27,999 rupees. So this is Redmi K20 Pro for you guys. The Alpha flagship starting at rupees 27,999 only. On Redmi K20, we have two variants, 6 GB, 64 GB and 6 GB, 128 GB. This is probably one of the best mid-premium devices. Snapdragon 730, which is 40% faster than predecessor 710. It is the third fastest chipset in the world from Qualcomm. 48 MP AI triple camera. It is Gorilla Glass 5, while many other devices use plastic. It is 4,000 mAh battery. And the 6 GB, 128 GB is being launched at 23,999. And the 6 GB, 64 GB is being launched at 21,999. So this is Redmi K20 for you guys, starting at only 21,999 rupees. Now, few other things. Every single unit of Redmi K20 and K20 Pro will come with a ultra premium hard case inside the box. This is a similar case that we gave with Mi Mix 2 and all our Mix series. It cost about 500 rupees, and every single phone will come with this hard case inside the box. We have one more variant that we haven't spoken about, and this is the variant that we teased yesterday, and we are calling this as a signature edition. Now, this is made of pure gold. This is not gold coating. This is not just any small layer of gold. It's actually made of gold, and it is diamond studded, as you can see in the bottom. And I'm carrying one of these phones with me. So we'll have very few units. Of course, this is made of real gold. So we'll only have 20 units of this phone being made in India. And just the cost of making this phone, the cost of gold plus diamonds plus making charges, is 4,80,000 rupees. We haven't finalized the price of this one, at how much will we sell it. We haven't decided the process in which we will sell these devices. But probably if we were to price it, we will give the hardware, the non-gold hardware, for free, which means we can actually launch the device at just 4,80,000 rupees. So when can you buy Redmi K20, K20 Pro? Now, many of you guys gave us feedback that you do not like flash sale and you would want us to do something better. And I completely agree. So we have been setting up a lot more factories so that everybody who wants to buy our devices can buy them easily. And so for K20, K20 Pro, we came up with a new mechanism called as Alpha Sale. And happy to share that 70,000 people participated in this. And this is incredible because this is not like any other blind sale. People actually paid money to be part of this Alpha Sale. These are paid orders. So for all these 70,000 people, they can complete the transaction today, starting 8 p.m. on me.com and Flipkart. You can also redeem your 855 rupees coupon. And for all your Alpha users, people who have put their faith in us, who paid 855 rupees even without knowing the specifics or about the price, we have something special for you guys. We are going to give a 2,000 rupee cashback to all the Alpha users if they use an ICICI Bank credit card. And for you Mi fans who could not participate in Alpha Sale, there is one last chance. You can go to Mi Home tomorrow, which is 18th, and you can get the same cashback offer across all Mi Home stores across the country. Now, everybody else, where can you buy Redmi K20 and K20 Pro? So the first flagship that we launched in India was Mi 3. And this was sold on 22nd July 2014. At that point of time, we only had 10,000 units because a lot of people told us that Xiaomi can never succeed in India. Like nobody even knows how to pronounce the name Xiaomi, right? So why should somebody come and buy a Xiaomi phone? So we had 10,000 phones because we had 10,000 followers on Facebook. We said, these 10,000 people will at least come and buy our phone. And on that day, the first sale day, this is what had happened. Flipkart crashed for the first time in the history of Flipkart. About 500,000 people turned up. It seems a small number today, 500,000, but it was a massive number at that point of time 5 years ago. And to buy these 10,000 phones, about 5 lakh people or 500,000 people turned up. So we just think 22nd July is a great day for us. So the first sale of Redmi K20, K20 Pro is going to be on 22nd July across me.com, Flipkart, and Mi Home stores. And soon it will be available across all our offline stores. Now, we also have a special offer for people who have not participated in Alpha Sale. We will be giving a 1,000 rupee cashback if they use ICICI Bank cards. We're also introducing the 27 watt. This is something a lot of you guys asked for. So inside the box, you get an 18 watt charger for both Redmi K20 and K20 Pro. But you can buy a 27 watt Sonic charge adapter from me.com. And this we are launching at rupees 999. This is really incredible because if you see the Whoop charger at 20 watt is a similar price, and the RAP charger at 30 watts is at about 1500 rupees, and we are giving the 27 watt sonic charge at 999. We're also launching the cases. So this is the ultra premium case in different colors, 3 different colors that you can also buy from me.com, from our partner websites, and from our offline stores at just $499. We also have an offer from our partner Airtel, where you get double the data and a lot of other really cool offers from our partner Airtel if you were to use Airtel connection on Redmi K20 and K20 Pro. So these were the 2 devices that we launched today, guys, Redmi K20 and K20 Pro. We have few other small surprises planned for you. Let's start with the first one. Yes, so we are launching Mi Neckband Bluetooth earphones. We are launching, this comes with Bluetooth 5.0, and has an 8 hours battery life. This can be voice control, and this is being launched at only $1,599. And we've also started the crowdfunding for Mi rechargeable LED lamp. This is live on me.com right now. So you can go and participate in the crowdfunding. This starts at only $1,299, and you can go and buy it or participate in the crowdfunding on me.com. So that's all, guys, from our side. We are launching Redmi K20, Redmi K20 Pro, the ultimate flagship killer, and then we are launching 2 new devices, 2 new ecosystem products, which are rechargeable LED lamp and the neckband. So with this, thank you so much, everybody, for joining in, and we'll do a quick photo op. I'll call Anuj and Raghu on stage. Which am I holding? Blue one. Blue one? Let me hold the black one and the gold. I'll hold the black and the gold. Black. Okay.
सब्सक्राइब कीजिए टेक्निकल गुरुजी चैनल को और बेल आइकन को दबाइए लेटेस्ट टेक्नोलॉजी वीडियोस सबसे पहले देखने के लिए।
नमस्कार दोस्तों, मैं गौरव आपका बहुत बहुत स्वागत करता हूं टेकटॉक्स के फ्रेश एपिसोड में और लेके आया हूं आपके लिए बहुत ही कमाल की टेक न्यूज। तो चलिए शुरू करते हैं। दोस्तों यहाँ पे यार मैं आपसे दोस्तों बात करता हूँ पहले पुराने पोल की। जब सवाल ये था कि आप भैया किसको करते हैं पसंद। यहाँ पे बात थी Realme X, Redmi K20 या फिर भैया तीसरा एक अलग ऑप्शन भी था। तो दोस्तों बोला है आप में से 23% ने कि Redmi K20 होगा बेहतर, 7% बोलते हैं कि Realme X कमाल है, और यहाँ पे दोस्तों बोला है सबसे ज्यादा 69% लोगों ने कि सब जो खेल है वो प्राइस का भैया देखते हैं कि Redmi K20 किस प्राइस पे लॉन्च होता है। और यहाँ पे दोस्तों अगर हम बात करते हैं आज के सवाल की, तो सवाल ये है कि अगर दोस्तों आप एक प्रीमियम फोन लें, मतलब एक 40-50 हजार रुपए का दोस्तों अगर आप एक फोन लें, तो क्या आप एक नॉर्मल फोन प्रेफर करेंगे या फिर दोस्तों आप लेना चाहेंगे एक गेमिंग स्मार्टफोन। अगर कोई कीमत में अवेलेबल हो दोस्तों, ऐसे में आपकी दोनों में से कौन सी रहेगी पसंद, मुझे बताना जरूर। क्या है आपकी राय ऊपर दिए गए पोल में, नीचे कमेंट्स में, और सारी बातें मिला लो एक साथ, दबा दो थोड़ा जोर लगा के लाइक बटन को। दोस्तों बात करते हैं पहले अपडेट की। भैया निकल के आता है यहाँ पे Xiaomi की तरफ से Mi A3 को लेके, जहां पे भैया अभी दोस्तों लॉन्च है वो